how would one become more conscious of their eating if they wanted to? Like, do they actually have to go through a series of training to do it, or can they like maybe just do a simple exercise right now as they're watching this video?
Oh man, I love this question. I've been leading these daily meditations where we go through that we basically answer this question in different ways. But yeah, and if you're watching this, consider putting a timer. And this is what I tell to all my clients and everyone who says that they don't have the time to meditate or they don't have the patience or fill in the blank reason why you can't do it. Put a timer. Put a timer on. And most everyone has 5 minutes. I don't believe for a second that there's someone that is just so absolutely busy that they just can't give themselves just 5 minutes of their day to just sit.
Yeah.
Put the timer, put the phone down, close your eyes, and notice how quickly you want to fidget, how quickly you want to move, how quickly the thoughts come in. These things that seemingly feel like we have control over, once we actually sit, we realize how much we don't. And the level of inability to sit with that discomfort or sit with whatever arises is directly proportional to how we are able to show up in the world. Because if we're not operating from a conscious place, if I can't consciously give myself 5 minutes to do absolutely nothing, that means that there are other mechanisms at play that are operating on my subconscious and are dictating my behavior. So I would start there. I would literally start with, where does your mind go when you close your eyes and you want to give yourself 5 minutes? And if you have a difficulty making it to the end of that timer, then maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something there to explore. And then from there, I would say there's a million things that you can do from there on out. I think going into the breath is an important practice. Even beyond that, there are 8 limbs of yoga as outlined by Patanjali. And the first 4 limbs, yamas, niyamas, asana, and pranayama. Yamas and niyamas deal with ethical constraints. In the yamas, we find ahimsa. And I would say study that. Understand, what does that mean? What does it mean to live a life where I'm causing no harm? What does it mean to live a life where I am practicing principles that deal with ethics, the way I treat myself and the way I treat others? The third limb is yoga asana. So yoga asana being the physical practice of postures, the physical movement, the warrior twos, and all the different things that we've come to know as yoga in the West. And then the next stage is pranayama, the actual control of the breath as we move through the postures. There's a reason why yamas and niyamas are first. Before we get into yoga postures, before we start playing with our breath, we have to notice, how do we show up for ourselves, yamas and niyamas, and how do we show up in others, and how do we treat other people? And we only do that through the careful observation of just how we show up. So how do I know, how do I treat myself? I sit down for 5 minutes, I set the intention that I want to be still, that I want to meditate for 5 minutes. And if I have a difficulty doing this, everything that is happening, if I'm actually paying attention, will show itself in those 5 minutes. Where does my attention go? What are the things, what are the proclivities or things that I kind of normally gravitate towards? What is my relationship with discomfort? Creating that space for that is incredibly important. So I would start there for someone that has no understanding or no access. 5 minutes. 5 minutes on a timer, close your eyes and just breathe, and then just notice what comes up.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's interesting because it's like a meditation, but it also simultaneously sounds like you're psychoanalyzing yourself, because the thoughts that come to your head, it's like you're basically telling yourself what you are having anxieties about, what you have fears about.
Yeah.
All the thoughts in your subconscious are finally being able to voice themselves to your conscious, because now your conscious is like prepared to shut down, be quiet, and listen to the other voices in the back of your head. So I think that's a genius way of doing it. And
Totally.
I totally agree with you. Like, I think everyone should be able to do this. You have 5 minutes out of the day, definitely, to do a very simple exercise for yourself. I say the same thing about my book. Everyone should be able to read it because it just takes 5 minutes a day to read. So it's like you could make 5 minutes to do anything that you want for self-development, whether it's meditation, whether it's reading, whether it's a simple exercise, whether it's calling someone that you care about. So it's like everyone can do it. It's just the thoughts that you have that are preventing you from doing it. And I think even recognizing the thoughts that prevent you from those 5 minutes to yourself can tell you a lot about how you respect yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? Because your time is you. You're living your life. No one else is living your life. So if you can't make time for yourself, what does that tell you about how you think about yourself? What does that tell you about your own time? What does that tell you about who's allowing to live your life versus you being able to live your life? Because I feel like I meet some people where they're just like, oh, like I'm so busy, I don't have time for anyone, or I don't have time for myself. And it's sad because I feel like you should always have time for yourself first because you're living your life. Why would you let other people live your life? Of course, live it with people, but like initially you got to remember you were born alone and you're probably going to die alone. So it's like you might as well make sure that you have the respect for yourself first. And if you have respect for yourself, you'll have a much better, I think, relationship with the people around you because you're coming from a place of like self-respect and self-fulfillment. And once you self-actualize eventually, I think you're just so much more fulfilled and you're able to connect with people on a better level too.
Totally.
Because you're kind of living outside of the matrix. You're kind of living in a way that's a little bit more conscious in communication and in thought. So it's like you can just explore your conversations and relationships in a much, much deeper setting.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
The first step to living an examined life is to examine your life.
For sure.
Let's go swim with some sharks whenever we get a chance.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Gabe. I appreciate you coming on this channel, and yeah, hope to see you soon.
Yeah.